Okay guys, today I'm going to talk about a couple of data science side hustles you may not have heard of. You've probably heard of blogging on websites like Medium, creating content on YouTube, starting a data consultancy, freelancing on Fiverr or Upwork, or even using your expertise to profit from betting exchanges or financial markets. And all of these are great avenues, but today I'm going to inform you of a couple that you may not have stumbled across yet. I'm going to reveal how much you could potentially make, how difficult they are to profit from, and also my tips and experience with them. Okay, so let's get started. The first one I'm going to be talking about is called Numer.ai. Numer.ai is a hedge fund which has essentially outsourced all of the modeling using machine learning and AI to anyone who wants to work for them. Numer.ai essentially provide a massive dataset which consists of proprietary features that are de-identified. So it'd be practically impossible to know what they might be, and it'd be pretty much useless to use outside of Numer.ai. When I say this dataset's massive, I mean it. There are over 2,000 columns and millions of rows in the full version. To make it easier to use for competitors, scaled down versions of the full dataset are provided with a much lesser number of columns. Fundamentally, Numer.ai have set this up as a competition where you build models using the dataset provided and submit predictions periodically. You are rewarded based on how accurately your model can predict the targets and go into a leaderboard with other competitors. To make this easier for those starting out in the competition, there are starter notebooks in Python, extensive documentation, and even a community for discussing everything Numer.ai and troubleshooting. They also have a meetup for those who wish to discuss everything Numer.ai that goes right around the world. Numer.ai has been running for quite a few years now, and although the competition and reward metric have changed, the fundamental goal of trying to accurately forecast the market remains unchanged. Okay, so let's talk about how Numer.ai rewards competitors. The payout scheme for Numer.ai is somewhat complex, so bear with me. Essentially, Numer.ai works similar to a betting market in that I put a bet on my model. The bet is called the stake, and the more I stake, the more I can make, but also the more I can lose. Your model is sort of making a return on investment, and you are paid out accordingly. To stake Numer.ai, you need to use Numer.ai's own cryptocurrency, which is appropriately called Numeraire. Numeraire is like any other token and can be bought and sold on an exchange, just like Bitcoin. So in summary, to make money from Numer.ai, you first need to get Numeraire crypto from the exchange, you send this to your wallet on Numer.ai servers, and then you stake this on your model. When you stake Numeraire on a model, you're paid out a return according to what your stake was and how well your model performs. To redeem this as regular money, you would then need to take the profit in Numeraire, convert it back to dollars by sending it to a Numer.ai wallet in an exchange, and then selling it back on the open market. So using Numer.ai definitely does have some risk associated with it. Ultimately, the return you make is a product of not only your model's performance in the competition, but also the exposure to the Numer.ai exchange rate against your local currency. So the question is, how difficult is it to make money using Numer.ai? If you're to build a strong model, then the sky is the limit. As we can see, some of the top users are making returns of 50 to 100+% annually, and we can see that they have relatively large stakes as well. Also, if we just look at the example models included as part of Numer.ai's own benchmark, we can see that just the Hello Numer.ai model has made a pretty good return over the last year. So we could just copy this notebook and submit this exact same model if we really wanted to. On the other hand, it's also pretty easy to find examples of users who are losing money or are hardly making any money at all and are making negative returns in Numer.ai even before we account for the exposure to the Numeraire to USD exchange rate. Numer.ai themselves have actually built this competition as the hardest data science competition in the world, and so far from my own experiences, I would say that the Numer.ai competition is extremely difficult. It's really easy to create a model that seems to do quite well on the training data and even the validation data, but doesn't do so well when used on live data. My advice is to do plenty of testing with the live data and use small amounts of stake initially just to get an idea of model performance and how Numero AI works before going all in. Okay, the next one is Kaggle. For those of you who haven't heard of Kaggle, it is a leading competition space for machine learning and AI. It allows hosts to post data science problems framed in a competition setting. The problems can range from computer vision detection to predicting stock prices. If you're new to machine learning or data science and you want to solve a data science problem, it will give you great exposure to many different types of problems using the Kaggle platform. It also offers large datasets to play with and free cloud compute, so you don't have to worry about package installation and the more technical aspects of running machine learning algorithms. You can just concentrate on developing and competing. First off, I would say that you probably shouldn't use Kaggle with the sole intent of making money from it. It definitely has to be something you're interested in and passionate about. If you're already a data scientist or data professional and you're keen to learn more and hone your skills, I would strongly recommend participating in Kaggle competitions. Once you become better and more skilled, you might be in a position to potentially win a competition. And how that works is the host will offer prize money for each competition, which will go to the winners. And it can vary quite heavily. It can be quite large sums of money. For example, the recently closed K-Prize, which was for developing an AI capable of solving GitHub issues, was offering around 1.2 million in total prize money. But the competitions are extremely difficult and you'll have to be very skilled because you'll be competing against many other data scientists for the same objective. It definitely requires a lot of effort. My advice would be to target actually the community competitions. Generally the field is smaller and less talented than the main competitions, and that's because the prizes are generally smaller and also the competitions themselves are less publicized on the website. Most Kaggle users would probably see the featured competitions and participate in them and wouldn't really be so interested in the community competitions. And that's also due to the community competitions not offering the same prestige and awards like the featured ones. However, they can also offer a decent financial reward if you place in them, and so they can definitely be worth participating in. I'd also pick something that is something you're already familiar with and have experience with. It's going to be way easier to win a competition if you're familiar with the topic and you're familiar with the machine learning techniques that tend to do well with that type of problem. I would also recommend looking back at previous competitions that are similar and work out what would likely provide a good baseline to start off with. Speaking from my own experience, I won money from Kaggle and it was a community competition and it was a topic I'm familiar with. I feel that I was probably a little bit lucky in that the competition field wasn't too strong, but I would also say I worked quite hard for it and estimate I put in probably around 100 hours to win the competition. So there you have it. That's 2 ways of making money as a data professional that you probably haven't heard of. I appreciate these are fairly unorthodox and probably not for everyone, but it's food for thought anyway. Thank you.